Chairman, thank you for giving me the opportunity to express my views on the economic crisis facing our country. In the last year, the housing credit crisis, which occurred primarily due to lax oversight and questionable practices by borrowers and lenders alike, has steadily worsened, threatening not only the housing market but other sectors of our economy as well. Despite efforts over the past year by the Federal Reserve, the Treasury, and Congress to stem the crisis, global financial markets remain under extreme stress. As we all know, experts are working around the clock to deal with this situation and forestall a complete meltdown of the world's financial markets. I want to thank the Chairman and his staff for the nonstop work dedicated to this process since we received the Treasury Department's 2.5-page legislative proposal on Saturday morning. I know that work was done by the Chairman and his staff throughout the weekend this week to reach the point in the negotiations where we are today. The current crisis is the result of a combination of irresponsible financiers pushing the limits of the marketplace and the administration that failed to properly regulate the financiers' actions in the public interest. Until 2007, Congress did not provide effective oversight of these regulators or of this marketplace. In the long term, we must uncover those who failed in their responsibilities and hold them accountable. Any package approved by Congress must include aggressive, informed, impartial oversight of the rescue programs both by Congress and the judiciary. It's absolutely imperative that we keep several things in mind as we continue to deal with this crisis. Any program we implement must be designed to take effect immediately and be substantial enough to restore market confidence as quickly as possible. But it's crucial that any undertaking protects the American people to the greatest extent possible. Every American whose personal life or business involves the use of credit will suffer the consequences of this financial crisis. The choking off of credit will increase the costs and difficulties for anyone who borrows to pay a mortgage, buy a car, purchase property or inventory for a small business, or invest for retirement. Our people must be our first priority as we develop a solution to this looming disaster. Additionally, we must do everything possible to protect the interests of the taxpayers in this process, including securing warrants in these troubled firms, so that when the market recovers, these equity stakes will ensure that taxpayers are paid back with a share of new profits generated by these firms. It's appropriate, too, Madam Chairman, that the FBI is investigating whether any one of the firms at the center of the crisis committed corporate fraud or broke laws. But I'm also concerned that executives of troubled financial institutions may receive large bonuses as part of the bailout package, if this package becomes law, in fact. We must do all that we can to ensure that CEOs of failing financial institutions are not permitted to leave with their golden parachutes paid for by taxpayers. Like many of my colleagues, I've heard from many constituents over the past few days who are concerned about the financial market crisis and are skeptical about the details of any kind of plan to buy illiquid assets from financial institutions in order to create liquidity in the market. I share their concerns and believe that when so many American people speak out so strongly and so loudly, we are wise to listen. This is not a time for partisan politics. We should put Republicans and Democrats aside and work on this together. We must work quickly and efficiently on a bipartisan basis to restore confidence in our shaken financial markets and stabilize our economy. This rescue package is the most important legislation that many members of Congress will consider in their entire careers. It's important to move expeditiously, but it's more important that we get this right and work out the details. Both parties and both houses of Congress must work together to produce a measure that can win the overwhelming support of both parties and both houses. For this reason, we should not adjourn this session of Congress. We should stay in this session of Congress until we've completed our work and resolved this issue. The stakes are too high to go home. I look forward to hearing testimony from Secretary Paulson and Chairman Bernanke and to working with them to address this crisis. And I'd also like to note that President Bush has kind of been missing in action for about the last 2 weeks. And I'd like to see the President come on television, talk to the American people about this, and talk to members of Congress about some solution here to bring Republicans and Democrats together for the benefit of our nation. Thank you very much.